Do you ever get overwhelmed when you go to the dentist? When I notice
What?
sorry, but when you I know. Wait, stick with me on this, listeners.
Girl!
Look, I gotta keep you on your toes, girl.
Clearly.
When I go to the dentist and honestly the doctor, so my dad was in the ER for 2 weeks before he passed away. The amount of plastics
Oh, yeah.
that are used
Yeah.
at the dentist and I'm not saying not to do it because guess what?
No.
We need hygiene.
Yeah.
When we're sick
Yeah.
or somebody's working in our mouth,
But
we
it's
need
hard.
hygiene. We and I think this is the problem when it comes to thinking about Earth Day and what can I do? I'm just one person with, all these billions of people on the planet, and it gets overwhelming, and I think that puts me sometimes in, like, paralysis. Like, well, is this even mattering? Does this even matter throwing away my soda can?
Yep.
Of course, yes, every little bit helps, and we all have to feel like we can do some things to help, right? But, yeah, when I'm in the dentist or the doctor, I always think of that. I'm sorry. Yes. But
Please don't apologize. I just, like
There it
I
is.
said, my brain is a little slow, and so that was like, wait, what?
Keep up. Keep up.
Clearly.
Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Drinks with the Girls. We are so happy you're here. Today, we are going to talk about Mother Earth. We're going to talk about Earth Day. But before we do, I'm going to tell you what I'm drinking. And this is my go-to lately, so you're going to hear about this a lot on these episodes.
Oh.
And it is my Green Cheek Paloma Hard. I keep moving it the wrong way.
I wish.
Seltzer.
Other way. No, other way. Keep going. There you go. We're doing hand puppets now.
It's Pierre's Paloma. Look at how cute Pierre is.
He is cute. I wish we could get that up here, but I bet we can't.
Yes, I don't know about that. But if you like grapefruit flavored anything, you'll love it.
Sounds
What are you drinking?
delightful. Nothing too exciting. I'm just ice water in my mason jar because my children broken all my glass. We're recording this a little on the late side, and so I didn't want booze or caffeine because then that would mean I couldn't fall asleep, which would truly suck because, as we all know, we all do not need any help not falling asleep. See,
Do you take magnesium?
sleep episode. I take magnesium. I take drugs. I do all the things.
Okay, wow.
I darken the room. I make it cold. Now, of course, within 15 minutes of me getting into the bed and going to sleep, I am now sharing it with 3 cats and 2 dogs who have decided to heat up the bed. But when we got
and
this
then
bed,
you can't move.
yeah,
Then you're like a mummy. You're stuck in a position depending on where all the animals are. Because I live that life too.
Yep, we got a king size bed, and the dogs were like, "Oh, sweet, new dog bed." Now my husband will just sit there. And I can't. They're there. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I love my dogs, but move the fuck over. I need to sleep. So
I
he's
go to bed
on
first.
the edge this. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I can't. It's mean. I'm like, really? Because I'm the one that's going to have to put your back into place tomorrow morning.
Well, and that's the thing too. I have a 90-pound pit bull, and trying to move her, if
hell
I'm in a
no.
position and I need to flip over, I have to move her.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to put a hip out trying to just move her.
I threw my back out moving our little chunky guy who's 45 pounds, but he's just imagine a giant piece of sausage with little stubby legs that weighs a lot. That's him. And he's long, the dachshund thing. And so it's just like I went to lift him up and he's just look at me the fuck I'm moving. And I was
Right.
like, "Ah, damn it."
I have a 23-pound version of that.
They're brother and sister, mine are,
Oh,
but they look nothing alike. She looks like basically like a Rhodesian Ridgeback that's been shrunk, and he looks like Scrappy-Doo without the spots. They're
Scrappy,
they're
not
my
Scooby.
rescue puppies from Mexico.
Nice.
All right, what are we talking about?
Okay, this is perfect because animals, nature, this is the
No
segue. It just
sleep.
moves right into what we're talking about today because
We
we're
are
gonna talk
so good.
about
We can segue anything.
we're talking about Earth Day,
Da, da, da,
and
da,
we're
da,
gonna
da, da.
correlate it with slowing down and just our connection to nature,
Yes.
right? What do you remember about Earth Day when you were younger?
Okay, so raise your hand if you grew up in Southern California and they would give you you had to collect newspaper and then sell these magazine subscriptions for all this stupid tchotchkes and stuff like that. Do you remember doing that in grade school,
Yes,
intermediate school? I mean, it was
yes,
basically like a pyramid scheme using
yes.
children as labor.
Children. Yes, child
Yeah,
labor at its
because
finest.
what about that doesn't sound good, right? So, yeah, no, I remember that, and then they would, measure the inches of newspaper, and we would all pat ourselves on the back because we had inches of newspaper, and
I
that's
was gonna say,
kind of
what does that have to do with Earth Day? Because I don't remember that having
oh,
anything to do with Earth
Earth
Day.
Day, I don't think was even a thing back then,
No, it
but
definitely
just the
wasn't.
idea of recycling,
Ah,
that was
okay.
about as close there was no curbside recycling, you know what
Yep.
I mean? That was not I mean,
No.
the best we got was, "Give a hoot, don't pollute," or the commercial with the Native American guy where he's, crying because 'cause we're,
Crying.
throwing
Aw.
crap everywhere, which was "Oh, maybe we should care about the planet. Wait, what?" Right? So,
Yeah.
that's me. How about you?
Yeah, no, I was thinking to myself, was Earth Day even a thing when we were
I don't
growing up?
think
I
so.
don't think so.
Please
I think it
hold.
was
Let me see. You talk. I'll Google.
I think it was when our kids because I remember, when my kids were in school, that's when I think Earth Day became a thing because I remember it would be a theme and you had to do stuff for it.
Oh, oh,
Th
1970. I'm surprised,
What?
actually. I
No
know.
way.
That's what the Google says.
Well, maybe it was a thing, but I don't think it was a widespread thing because I certainly don't remember it.
Interesting.
Although, if you know me, you know that my memory is not to be counted on. So, just
Huh.
because I don't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember, celebrating it or anything. I mean, you might as well have been, ball of string day. I don't think people really knew, what the hot dog was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
What had
definitely more intentional now, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you feel about it now? How do you feel about Earth Day?
I mean, I I use it as a time to kinda remind people about stuff because one of my many businesses is pretty eco-conscious and talks about, all the toxins and different things that we're putting in our bodies, and I was pretty happy to know about that, and, it's a what do I wanna say, certified B Corp, so it has to this is Arbonne, it has to reach certain recycling standards and just, carbon units and all that kinda stuff, and I think that's becoming more and more important to people. So, I like to publicize that then and talk a little bit about, just easy things people can do that they might not know, unplug certain electronic there's a lot of things that you can do that you wouldn't think would be a big deal in terms of, saving resources, I mean, for example, there's a water shortage in this world, and it's pretty intense. Like, here in Oregon, we've had this beautiful winter, but we're gonna get destroyed in the summer when the fires come. I'm so nervous because we have a fraction of the rainfall and the snowpack that we normally get, and this spells bad news for us, so I don't know.
Yeah, Southern California, yeah, we're known for the fires and whatnot. But I think it was a couple years ago, we had, unprecedented rain because that was when basically my roof fell in because
That's
of the
right.
rain, and the rain was in my house. And I think that was the only time that I can remember that we were not in the negative. Like, we were and I don't know the terminology, but we weren't in a drought per se,
Yeah,
because we're Southern California, we are always, just for decades, in a
yeah,
drought. But yeah, it makes wildfire season, which I think actually, honestly, down here is year round now.
yeah.
But yeah, super scary.
Where I grew up, I can't remember if you ever visited there, but I grew up in Rancho Palos Verdes, and that whole area is just getting destroyed because basically, we're all lazy. And so somebody decided it would be good to dynamite a road up through the hill because it's this giant peninsula with a hill, right? And so people didn't want to have to go all the way around. Like they wanted to go over the top. And they didn't really do their homework and check, geology. And basically there are these plates. And so what happened was the dynamiting basically made it, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but basically made it so these plates are sliding even more. And now with the rain, it's basically like two plates floating on water. And so you can imagine what it's like if you own a home there or you're trying to get by on the road. So yeah, you're screwed because basically your house is crumbling and falling into pieces. So yeah, I mean, and I also think that when we were younger too, like you could look the other way a lot easier than you can now. I remember when our local dump ran out of space, we just moved across the street, started filling that one up, right? Like it wasn't, I mean, it was like, oh yeah, let's recycle some newspaper, but there wasn't like this dire, like, holy crap, like we are
Yeah.
not in a good
Well,
place.
I think also it's, with technology and the internet and everything is accessible now.
Yeah,
So everything
totally.
can be in your face. So it's hard to not notice. And we're seeing things now we weren't able to see in like the 70s and 80s because we
Yeah.
didn't have as much access. So I think that's good for awareness. I think when I started surfing, let's see. Wow. Holy shit, 26 years ago? Well, that can't be right.
Please
Oh
hold.
my
She's doing the
Wait a
numbers.
minute. That is not right. Holy shit. Okay, this is bad. Okay,
Please hold. She's feeling faint, and I'm fanning
I'm
her
having a
remotely.
moment like I did with on the episode we just did with the parasites. What is going on? Okay, I started surfing when I was 35,
20 years, babe.
and fuck, damn, over 20
So,
years. Wow.
speaking
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, let me catch my breath.
speaking of inconvenient truths, that was the other thing I think that did it. So in 2006, Al Gore's movie An Inconvenient Truth came out. That was like, we're not effing around here. Like, this is what's going
Yeah,
on, and like global warming and all that. And after that, people were like, whoa,
but I think he got a lot of shit for that too. Like, I think a lot of people thought he was a nut job.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, it was way back in the day where people were like, whatever, I
Yeah.
mean, because I think it was, and honestly, there's still people now that think climate change is a bunch of bullshit, right? Like, oh, it gets cold in the winter, or we get polar vortexes, so that means global warming is a myth. Let that sink in.
The face.
Yeah. That.
Okay, so I'm back in my body now, but what I was going to say is the thing that really helped me connect with Mother Earth on such a deep level and not that I didn't I want to say observe Earth Day, but I had kids and for me it was really important to me that they understood that it was important to take care of our planet. And so, but when I started surfing when I turned 35 is when I really had this intimate personal connection with Earth because I was in the ocean almost every day and in nature and with dolphins and the stingrays and the fish and the sharks and all of it, right? And so I look back on that and I just think that it was such a spiritual experience and really leaning into the idea of Mother Earth, of the care, her seeing her as like this maternal figure and somebody who gives care and also who needs care.
Okay.
Right? Because what do we do as mothers? We take care of fucking everybody. Yes, ma'am.
New thing on my bucket list.
What?
You take me surfing.
Mm. Get your ass down here because I am not surfing in sharky Oregon waters.
Oh my God.
Sharky cold Oregon waters.
Okay, cold. It's not really sharky compared to where you are.
Okay. Well, because I considered NorCal sharky, more sharky than Southern
Yeah,
California.
definitely
Which
Northern
actually is not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's more whales. Like, I mean, if you go into like Seattle, there's like orcas in the bay, but that's not kind of how we roll here.
Do you know how fun that would be? You
I
come
know.
down here in the
Oh,
summer when it's warm.
you don't have to sell it to me. I am there. Hey there, I'm Lisa Corachella McDowell, your midlife Pacific Northwest princess, here to guide you in the art of next leveling your life. I'm passionate about women's health and wellness in midlife, especially for moms parenting kids with unique needs like I do. I truly believe we can learn, grow, advocate, and care for the planet while taking care of ourselves and our families. And I'd love to help you do the same. And I'm beyond excited to tell you about my membership for maxed out mamas just like me, the Empowered Parent Collective. It's a space for parents to confidently advocate for their kids, build inclusive communities, educate themselves, and find balance and support along the way. To find out more about the Empowered Parent Collective, my classes, wellness offerings, parenting tips, advocacy resources, and exclusive Drinks with the Girls goodies, head to nextlevellifewithlisa.com. Let's survive and thrive in the messy middle together. So, bucket list. And I still think we need to do the Drinks with the Girls retreat somewhere, and that should definitely be on the activity
Okay,
list.
listeners, pencil it in. Drinks with the Girls Surf Camp.
Oh my God.
2027, La Jolla, California. I'm putting it out there right now.
So there. Okay, manifest that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I agree. And also, frankly, when you and I were growing up and we were riding every day, like I was outside all the damn time. I was outside more than I was inside. And like I was just talking to Karen about this before we hit record. And, now that I'm in Oregon, like we don't have the kind of weather that Southern California has. And I'm kind of a baby about that. Like I just don't enjoy being outside when it's cold and wet. Like there's hardcore Oregonians here that will just like do whenever. And that is just not my deal. Like I recently spent 6.5 hours on a plane trip in soaking wet clothes. Long story. And that was about as close to misery as I've been in quite some time. So that's just not my jam. So I'm out a lot in like the summer and late spring. Like I love to garden and I love to do that. And that really, I have found that that's a good connection for me to the earth. I feel really connected to my mom when I garden because that was always her passion. And so that definitely kind of literally grounds me. But it's hard in the, kind of colder months here for me to just really feel that connection at all. So I've been doing things like, I don't know, listeners, if you're watching on YouTube, like the plants are growing. It's starting to look more like a terrarium around here. And I've got like my red light here to like make me happy. So I'm finding that I need to bring more of the outside world inside.
Okay, well, have you ever considered bird watching?
What the hell?
Okay, we have stepped into a new chapter. We are those people. And honestly,
you are those people. I am not those people.
Okay,
I have not
don't
been convinced yet.
Let me reframe. Tony and I are those people now.
Okay.
We are those, and I don't want to I'm just going to say we're those people. So when we moved to Fallbrook almost 4 years ago, I mean, you can't not notice the birds. Like there are birds everywhere. Hawks, owls, and then all of the little cute birds,
Yep.
The blue ones and the red ones and the yellow ones. And when I go out to take the dogs out in the morning, they are everywhere and they are all talking and singing and you're just like, "Oh man, this is cool." Well, my man recently we had hummingbirds build a nest in our
I love
porch.
hummingbirds.
So he got a Ring camera and he set it up and he, it's like the
That's
Eagles.
fun.
Did you watch the Eagles? What were their names? Shadow and something or other.
Sad.
But it was like that. So we had our little hummingbird camp and every day he would, tell me what was going on. Mama would lay the eggs and there was 2 eggs. And then, after time they hatched and and of course he would send all these videos. We have group chats with all of our kids. We have 3 different group chats for our kids. And he would send them all the videos. And I'm like, babe, they're working. They're not going to be watching a hummingbird video right now. But today, so the babies are in there. There's 2 of them. Today, I go out the front door and I walked a little too swiftly and I let the dog in and they flew away. The babies flew away and he's so mad at me. And he didn't say it out loud, but I know he thinks it's my fault.
He does know that happens eventually, right?
Well, and that's what I said. I'm like, babe, if they weren't ready to go, they wouldn't have flown away. He's like, but mom came back and she's so sad and she's looking for the...
Oh my God, like, today on anamorphizing.
It's time to unhook the Ring camera from the hummingbird nest. Anyway, I totally digress. But if you want to feel close to Mother Earth, watch nature.
Get a Ring camera. I will say this, and this is going to sound really snotty, but it just is the truth of my life. So when we lived in Zimbabwe, talk about bird and animal life. I mean, we went on safaris and stuff, but the birds over there are unreal.
Yeah. You
Unreal.
can't compare.
There's one called the I think it's lilac crested roller, that's literally like lavender. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So if you want to talk tropical birds and stuff, like I'm totally down with it. I actually have a friend, shout out to Dr. Emma, who is a massive birder. There's a few people I know that are. It's, again, like for me, it's just the whole, like, I don't want to be freezing cold outside thing. Like I'm failing at this
No, you
part of
just
being
put
a
up a ring
Northwestern.
camera. You don't have to leave your couch.
I can't like go everywhere and do it. I will say in the summer though, the hummingbirds come out, like it's great that we get really great butterflies and all that. I just, so
I have to say, every time you're like, well, when we lived in Zimbabwe,
I know, right? It sounds
I
like I'm ridiculous.
I feel like saying, well, when I lived in San
Right?
Bernardino.
Right? I know. It's just like, again, right? I always told my son when he was young, dial it down on the I've seen lions in the wild stories because that is social suicide, dude. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I will say this, in the winter, I do kind of slow down and just like kind of hibernate. That's my time to just kind of go interior.
Well, and I think at this stage in our life, that is literally what we need as women, especially. It's interesting. I've had so many conversations with women in my community, my clients, my friends, and we are all feeling this unsettling feeling because, we've taken care of everybody for so many decades and we're exhausted, number one, and we're also kind of pissed off about it because we recognize, I'm not joking.
No,
And
I'm laughing because like, yeah.
And I thought it was kind of just me. I'm like, and I've said little things here and there on the podcast about like kind of my resentments and wow, wouldn't it be cool if we could live two lives, one life just us and another life, with our families. But it's
literally
not just me.
Turn ourselves into two people.
Correct. Yes, you get two chances, right? Because obviously, if you have a family and you're not going to trade them in, you're not going to be like, nope, I'm done. And if you're, living a intentionally single or child-free life, you've made a choice and that's what you want, right? And either and both are valid. But I just think that, yes, so my point is, it's not just me, thank goodness, that was nice to know. But we get to this point and we're so used to being on the treadmill. We're so used to being on autopilot. What can I do? How can I do this? Let me take care of this. Oh, I got this. Oh, somebody needs help. I got it. Oh, you need 12 things done. Let me do 10 of them. Right. And so that's why, like to your point, the slowing down piece, the just hibernating a little bit, the chilling out, just taking advantage of the quiet moments. And I think that's what the earth can teach us. That's what nature can teach us. Because guess what? There's cycles, with things in nature, just like we have our cycles, right?
The earth does not have a smartphone. It's not running at like the speed of light, And I mean, when the earth is pissed, when the earth is happy, I mentioned my wet clothes thing. I got almost stuck on Hawaii. It sounds really glamorous. It wasn't. There were no toes in the sand. And in fact, I was there for the beginning of these horrific storms that have done all this damage there. And just like even seeing it like in its initial stages was crazy time scary. And those poor people and what they've had to endure. And I mean, that's nature, man. It's not like you can be like, halt, stop there.
Yeah. Well, and also think about it. In nature, there are times like in winter when everything is underground or things are hibernating. Things are in the dirt. The trees don't have their leaves because they're literally going inward to rejuvenate. And you know what? Guess what? In a few months in springtime, they're going to come out again.
Yep.
But in that moment, they are rebuilding and they're restoring themselves.
Yep.
And that is something as women we don't do.
Yeah.
And that we could take a page, from the earth's playbook. It's like, look, we all need time to restore ourselves by ourselves. I'm not saying 7 days in Puerto Vallarta like my mom did, but
hey, the shoe fits.
Right?
Yeah, but I also think like this week, I don't know, I've been on just crazy time schedule with work. It's just a super, super busy time for me. And this week I've been like unable to keep a thought in my head, like more than normal. And I was getting frustrated with myself. And then I was like, okay, you got this going on, all these things. And I was finally like, okay, I need to like sit myself down and say, self, like, take a breath, because it just has been to the point where like I feel like my brain is a cup that is like just so overflowing with water at this point that I cannot put any more anything in there without my head exploding. And so I'm trying to give myself some grace and just take a step back. It's super hard though.
I think it's good. I think it's necessary. And I'm glad that you're noticing that, because that's what we all need. It's like that passage in Ecclesiastes in the Bible.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's a season for
the bird
everything.
song.
And so when I got married to my ex-husband, that was read at our wedding. My mom died 6 days later, and we read it at her funeral.
Oh wow.
It's just so telling, right? It's like, to every time there is a season, whether you're celebrating, whether you're planting, whether you're growing, or whether you're tearing down, what's the word, reaping, right? And
Harvesting.
it's nature. It's
Yeah.
nature at its finest. Like, there is, to everything there is a season.
I do think there's definitely a sense, and I feel like this crosses all political divides, like whether or not you believe climate change is real or not. I do think people are, in general, much more aware of the earth. Like people aren't just, well, I mean, some people do, but, just throwing trash out the window, right? I do think that people are like, oh, where's the recycling bin? Or, I'm going to bike to work. Or like, I do think there's a general awareness of you can't just be a giant consumer and never think about where these resources are coming from and what's happening. Like even the most selfish person, I feel like now, like they're going to recycle their soda cans. Like, you know?
Yeah, that's an easy one. Do you ever get overwhelmed when you go to the dentist? When I notice, sorry, but when you, I know. Wait, stick with me on this, listeners.
Girl,
Stick with
your
me.
segues tonight are killing me.
Look, I got to keep you on your toes, girl.
Clearly.
When I go to the dentist and honestly the doctor, so my dad was in the ER for 2 weeks before he passed away. Well, the ER and then the hospital. The amount of plastics
Oh yeah.
that are used
Yeah.
at the dentist, and I'm not saying not to do it, because guess what?
No.
We need hygiene.
Yeah.
When we're sick
Yeah.
or somebody's working in our mouth,
But
we
it's
need
hard.
hygiene. But when I think about that, I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And I think this is the problem when it comes to thinking about Earth Day and what can I do? I'm just one person with, all these billions of people on the planet, and it gets overwhelming, and I think that puts me sometimes in, like, paralysis. Like, "Well, is this even mattering? Does this even matter, throwing away my soda can?"
Yep.
Of course, yes, every little bit helps, and we all have to feel like we can do some things to help, right? But, yeah, when when I'm in the dentist or the doctor, I always think of that. I'm sorry. Yes. But
Please don't apologize. I just like
There it
I
is.
said, my brain is a little slow, and so that was like, wait, what?
keep up. Keep up.
Clearly. Yeah, and I do think it's about like being more intentional, just like doing better, And the good thing is that, the market supports what's popular. Capitalism is famous for that. And so the nice thing is there's more and more choices. And that's kind of nice. Like you can buy a lot of stuff that's silicone now that is a little bit gentler. Doesn't have those forever chemicals and all that. We recently got rid of all of when we moved into this house, did we? I'm trying to think. No, we'd never had a gas range, but we had, for whatever reason, we got new pots because it was an induction stove. It wasn't just the electrical burner. And so we had to get new pots and pans, but they had the Teflon stuff on them. And as you know, that is like no bueno. And I don't know what it is about my family and why they can't stop using metal implements in those things. It used to drive me up the frickin' wall. Like my husband would be scraping there. I'm like, okay, you're literally like scraping up poison. Like, what are you doing? So we finally bit the bullet and bought stainless steel cookware. And it wasn't horribly expensive, but yeah, so that's one thing we're doing is replacing all that. Like I want to get a more permanent water filter, although I dug that one that Karen Basket had on in our Living Abroad Part 2 episode with the remineralizer. Remineralizer. That looks super cool. So I do think, like, it's just forward motion, right? It's just thinking of better ways to do stuff, plant a garden, plant some herbs, that kind of thing. You just, I think as long as you're aware of it, I think that is celebrating Earth Day in a lot of ways.
Yes, and I think too it's making choices that might be hard, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
When a lot of companies decided to roll back DEI programs, I stopped shopping with them, and I was doing really well with Amazon for a long time. And okay, talk about being overwhelmed. Do you ever get overwhelmed with Amazon? Like, when you think
Yeah.
about the amount of packaging
Yeah.
that the convenience having it here in 24 to 48
Yep.
hours, like, it's just I don't know, it's just having things at our fingertips is great on one sense and also just, like, incredibly wasteful on another. Sorry, I digress.
I will say, not that I'm trying to defend Amazon, because my God, there's a lot not to defend, but I have noticed the last few times I've ordered that the packages have been all recyclable. Like, they're not using those bubble mailers anymore, because those are just like, I try to reuse those, but that's about the best I can
Yeah.
do.
My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women unapologetically design a life they're in love with. Because what the hell are we waiting for? My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and free offers, like my midlife reclamation guide. In it, you'll find tools to help you decide how to create the most inspired and empowered version of yourself and your life. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. See the show notes for all the details. Cheers.
So let's talk about Earth Day and the idea of Mother Earth. That's what we call her in our house, and it's I didn't even have to train Tony. He just started calling her Mother
Aw.
Earth, which I thought was super cute. Yes. But, I've been really thinking a lot about this idea of the matriarchy in terms of where we are at in this country.
Replacement behaviors.
Yes, correct. Because the patriarchy, let's just keep it real, is not working for us women. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about this idea of Mother Earth, right? Not just like as a symbol, but just kind of like what I was alluding to earlier. It's like we as mothers are the caregivers and the caretakers. I think our earth is the same.
Yeah.
And we neglect her.
Yeah.
Like unequivocally.
Yeah, I mean, not that I am gonna use a Disney movie as a metaphor, but let's take the metaphor of a Disney movie. So,
Sure.
Moana, right? Like, and I can't remember the names of the different things, but it's like you think this big bad scary thing is the villain, right? And Moana slaps the heart in there, and it becomes this like beautiful island, right? And I mean, obviously, Disney movies kind of drill everything down to the lowest common denominator in terms of like hitting you over the head with a metaphor. But I do think this idea of, especially that particular culture, really venerating Mother Earth and really, like, I mean, the Native Americans, a lot of Native and island cultures have really brought the idea of Earth as an entity, as a spiritual entity to be worshipped in a lot of ways. And God knows modern society, like, I always say I can handle places like New York and Vegas for like 3 days, like downtown Vegas, because I'm like, I need to touch some like dirt. Like, I can't be on the pavement 24/7.
Well,
It's just very much.
New York had a lot of parks.
Yeah, no,
Go
for
that.
sure. But I think for me, just in general, like, I start feeling a little claustrophobic with the buildings and stuff like that. Like, that is just, I find that tough. And it also, frankly, okay, you're going to roll your eyes, so you might as well just get it over with. When we lived in India, and I roll. That was like, I mean, mega cities in Asia, holy crap. Talk about like paving over Mother Earth. Because yes, there are sort of green spots, but I just remember like trying to find a park to go to for my kids was almost impossible, and the dirt and the filth and all that. So it's just, that was one of the most difficult things about being there, is just really losing that connection to Mother Earth. We didn't have pets over there. Like, the most animals we saw were like stray dogs and like the hawks attacking the pigeons. And that was very destabilizing for us, for sure. And not having that kind of green space. And of course, the pollution is horrible.
Yes, I could imagine living in that a situation like that would be very difficult. And raising your kids and, trying to help them,
Yeah.
be in nature when you can't really find it. I just love Manhattan. I just love New York City.
Oh, I love visiting. I do. I
Yeah.
just couldn't handle living there.
Yeah. I don't know. I could live there for a finite amount of time. Like if you said, "Okay, here's a really cool apartment for 6 months."
Well, of course.
But Vegas, yes. 2 days, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's about 3 for me. But honestly, like New York, and we're going on a tangent, but what the hell? That's just how we roll here. I think the thing with New York is like, and I have money, right? Like that has to be the fantasy. Like, and I have money, because if you live in New York and you're broke, that is not a good place to be.
That is not fun.
Manhattan, yeah, no, that's rough,
Yeah, here's your apartment and a endless bank account.
Spend $1 million in 3 months. Go.
Oh, I get it. I get that piece. And honestly, that's why I live on 3 acres.
Yeah.
So, and every time I have to go back to Orange County, which isn't even like New York or Vegas, it's just a more, a busier city.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and my kids want me to move back so bad, especially because I'm having my first grandbaby in May. Not my first grandbaby, but my first grandbaby. You know.
Get it? You got it?
Yeah.
Good.
So there's something to that. There's something, to be said about that. So,
yeah, I remember. So listeners, if you've been listening for any length of time, and maybe this hasn't come through, but my family has a farm outside the city here in Oregon, and we raised our kids there for the first few years of their lives. And it was awesome. Out in the middle of nowhere, but it was like nature everywhere. Like we could literally just let them go. And that is not something you've been able to let your kids do in any neighborhood in the US for quite some time now. So I really appreciate the fact that they had that childhood where they could just wander up to their grandparents' house or just go to the stream or throw sticks or pick blackberries or whatever. Like it was really an idyllic way to raise kids, right? And then when we moved into town here, which is still town, right? Eugene is 200,000 people, maybe. I was really worried about how I would feel about being in a quote unquote city, because we live like, I don't know, maybe 2 blocks away from like a main street. But we live near a mill stream. It's a river, but it's a small river. And what's been super nice is, you can hear the city and stuff like that. But at night, one of the things that used to happen when we lived on our cottage in the farm, because of course there's no light pollution, right? It's just like the stars are incredible and you just, it smells wonderful, was the tree frogs and the bullfrogs would come out at our pond and just would sing at night. And the cool thing is, in the spring, because of that water, we get that here. And it's really, really lovely to kind of have that as like touching base with things. And we have a nice big lot. We certainly don't have acreage like we had before, but it's a nice big corner lot and we fenced in our front yard. So it's about as close, I think, as you can get in suburbia to kind of living in nature a bit, but it's not 3 acres, that's for sure.
We have, I don't know if they're frogs or toads, but we have those too. And I used to kind of be creeped out by them. But yeah, hearing them, like you say, sing, I love that, is fabulous. But fun fact, if a dog licks them, they excrete a toxin.
Oh yeah,
because that's
certain kinds of toads. Yeah.
It will put your dog into an allergic reaction and you will have to take her to the emergency vet. And of course, it'll be on a Saturday at like 11 p.m.
Not speaking from personal experience or anything.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I think the amphibious like frogs are a little bit more friendly, but I don't know, someone could fight me on that one. But the fun thing is we get these little super green tree frogs, and they'd somehow, because we were on a septic, there was more than one time when the kids would be like, "Mom, there's a frog!" And like I'd go in and they were like getting ready in the bath and there's a little frog like peeking his head up. It was really cute.
Okay.
Okay, not parasites. Girl, for an animal lover, you are just like goosey with this stuff. Hummingbird scarer aware.
Okay, that's not fair. Frogs do not belong in the house.
Well, yeah, but they're cute little ones, not like
I felt this way when I would when I would be surfing and a pod of dolphins would come into the lineup. Like, we used to surf at Bolsa Chica State Beach, and
So cool.
dolphins would show up 90% of the
Oh,
there would
that's
be
so
dolphins in the
cool.
water. And my girlfriends, my surf sisters would paddle up to them and all that, and I'm like, I love nature. I appreciate nature, but I don't need to snuggle necessarily with a wild animal, and that's what a dolphin is to me, even
Yeah.
though they're
Oh, for
cute like
sure.
puppies and whatever, and I feel the same way about frogs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know.
Stay out of my bathtub.
I actually did a thing once where you could swim with actually a couple times we've swam with dolphins. And I mean, they're captive to a certain extent, but it's not like marine land, although the one in Mexico was kind of like that. At any rate, it was really interesting because they talk about the fact that if you encounter wild dolphins, one of the things you shouldn't do is like have your hands up in their eyesight because they think of it as like claws and things like that. And so you have to be like, I mean, makes sense, just gentle and kind of keep your hands calm, So for what it's worth,
Yeah, see,
because I'm a dolphin whisperer.
I would never be close enough to a dolphin to to do that.
Good to know. I was awesome when I swam with them. They are beautiful creatures. They are
Yeah,
gorgeous
absolutely.
creatures. Like people think of them as gray. They're like underwater. You could describe it better than I can, but they're like their skin is like iridescent. It's gorgeous.
Iridescent, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho,
So what are some ways that we can parallel our experience as midlife women to the experience of the earth or to the earth?
I definitely think, let's face it, the matriarchy is a very, 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 very old thing. Like some of the first cultures were matriarchal. The patriarchy is a relatively new thing in the scheme of things. But I definitely think this idea of the mother, the crone, the kind of holder of the wisdom, those are archetypes that have been around forever. And I
Yeah.
do think that we're so caught up in like being young and hurry and busy and da 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 da, and we're not being productive. Speaking as that person, the idea of slowing down and just kind of holding and nurturing and just thinking about the long term kind of thing, I think that way of being is good for everybody. Why do people go camping? Why do people go hiking? Why do people go out in nature in the first place? Is because it as humans, we're not meant to live in silicone bubbles. Like we need to be out touching earth, smelling, flowers, like being around animals, although apparently not parasites or frogs. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, and I think, it's interesting you talked about, the storms that you experienced in Hawaii when you were there, and I'm in the middle of a storm right now in my life, and so I
Oh.
think about what's happening. Are you okay?
No, sorry. I was thinking you were talking about like actual weather. Again, did I mention I'm a couple cups short of a cupboard these days? It's taken me a while. So just saying. Continue.
Your reaction was so funny. I was like, "What did I say?"
I have a tick. It's called my brain stops working.
My brain on drugs. This is
Pretty
your brain
much.
on drugs.
Yeah.
So I just think about that correlation about how, the earth has its storms that are natural, that are, even though they're uncomfortable, like as you well know, because you got drenched and had to sit on a plane for 6 hours and felt like you were running for your life, the storms that we go through as people, really, not just even women, but are natural. And that they're okay. And I think sometimes, we go through the shit storms of life and we just, get in this place of like, "Oh my gosh, why me?" Or, "Oh, this is so awful. I'm never gonna get out of this. Am I ever gonna be happy again?" And if we would just step back and remember that just like with the earth, just like with life, this storm too shall pass and there will be sunshine in the future. And I myself, that's a good reminder for me right now at the season that I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's hard. You're navigating a lot. I'll let you share as much as you're comfortable with sharing, but I do, and I've kind of been in that space in the sense that it's like that whole "this too shall pass" thing, right? Where you're just like, I am in a season where everything is going a mile a minute and I can't stop it. And it's just like, oh my God, like I'm joking about my brain tonight, but a lot of this is because I'm really, I mean, I juggle a lot, but I'm really juggling a lot right now, and just trying to be more gentle with myself in terms of like not getting on the pity me train or getting mad at myself when I can't keep all the information in, because there are seasons for that, and you aren't going to be adversely affected if you take the time to actually take a full breath. And I feel like as midlife women, we have to actually remind ourselves of that, which is super sad, but it's true.
Also reminding ourselves, because I feel like, well, honestly, since COVID, so for the past
Yeah.
5-ish years, I just think it's just been one thing after another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think remembering that that too is kind of normal. Like that too is life. And it's, you never know what is around the next bend. And there is going to be something around the next bend. And to really enjoy and just really sink in those times when you are truly at peace or truly enjoy or just truly, grounded or feeling your full self, then just relish that, because I mean, not to be the bearer of bad news, but there will be another storm ahead.
Yep.
Life's just not like that. We don't get by with escaping the storms. And so I have to remember that myself, because every time I'm in a storm, I just feel like, "Oh my god, this is it. I'm going to drown. This is the worst thing
Yeah.
ever. How am I going to survive?" And I think just reminding myself that, you know what? I have survived all the storms for the past 57 years, and I will survive this one too. Okay, quick pause. Have we talked about the Pod Squad lately?
Oh, the Pod Squad. You mean our email list /VIP lounge /digital wine club?
Exactly. So listeners, if you're not on it yet, you're basically making life harder for yourself when it comes to podcasts.
Like trying to scroll for show notes while speed walking on a treadmill. Wait, what was that link again? Oh, no. Grab the side rails.
Or pulling up that book we mentioned while you're in the Starbucks line and then realizing everybody else moved up 3 cars and now you're that woman.
We've all been there. That's why we made the Pod Squad. You'll get new episode alerts every week with direct links. Easy to listen, easy to share.
And show notes straight to your inbox. So when we drop a life-changing product, book, hot tip, or yummy new drink, you're not rummaging through your memory like a woman searching for her reading glasses when they're on top of her head.
It's organized, it's helpful, it's for you, babes.
So join the Pod Squad. The link is in the show notes. Just tap it.
Snacks, sarcasm, solidarity.
And obviously, fighting the patriarchy.
We write at dawn. To go back to kind of your surfing metaphor, I mean, what do they say when a riptide carries you out? Don't fight it, just go with where the current takes you so you can kind of save your energy, right?
Bye. See you on the island with Tom
Bye.
Hanks.
Yeah, pretty much.
What was that movie?
But don't they say that though? Like you're not supposed to fight a rip current, right? Or am I crazy?
You're supposed to. No. If you are in a rip current that's pulling you out to sea, yeah, you swim parallel. You don't swim against it. You swim, like if it's going this way, you swim this way. So you swim perpendicular. Sorry.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. At any rate.
To get out of it. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. My point being that I also think, I mean, let's be real. When the pandemic hit, we're all like, oh, it's going to be 30 days of like baking sourdough and playing board games with our families. And how nice. We're all just going to reconnect. And then like 2 friggin' years later, we're still sanitizing groceries. But there was an article at the time. I'll try to find it if I know where it is. But it was talking about the amount of decision fatigue that people were going through, and just this idea of like making life or death decisions on a constant daily basis, because people were like, I'm not doing anything. Why am I so exhausted? And it was this idea of just that relentless piece of, I mean, cast your memory back. We didn't know what the hell was going on, right? Nobody knew what was going on, especially in the early period of it. And we were all just like, every day it was something new, and nobody knew if it was fake news or what was going on, right? And you're just trying to keep your kids in front of a screen. And, I mean, sorry, I don't mean to pick at all the scabs, but the point is that I think that kind of continued in that vein for so long. And then to Karen's point, the world has been just nonstop ever since. And so I think we can be forgiven for our kind of inner circadian rhythms, thinking that is normal and kind of operating in that way. And it's not. It is just not. And I think that really I mean, I think in midlife in general, but I think really like our midlife and this time and place, we have to be really deliberate about slowing down and just taking a breath and going to the yoga class and doing the thing. Because I think that the level of crazy in so many ways is just become toxic to our bodies. And I feel sometimes like my body doesn't know how to slow down. Like, even if I wanted to relax, like, I don't know how to do it, and that's a little scary, more than a little.
You're not alone. You are not alone. I have clients that are it's the same. And we've been on this treadmill, whether or not we are, like a high functioning executive, person or not. Like I just think as women, we are socialized to do all the multitasking and to take care of 12 things at once. And so, yeah, decision fatigue, when that even became a term, I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, that makes so much sense
Yep.
because it's like you get to this point and you're just like, you've run out of decision making skills.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting that, this is all kind of bubbling up right now for women in midlife. And I think menopause has a lot to do with that because of the hormone shifts and the things that are changing in our bodies, because it's finally allowing ourselves to say, I need a fucking break, or I can't do this for you. I'm sorry. I love you, but I can't do this for you. Or setting better boundaries, or taking things off our plate, or whatever it is that we used to feel guilty about or feel like we weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
We're finally at this stage of life, we're allowing ourselves to do that. And I think that's where we really, kind of link up with this idea of the earth and Mother Earth, and just taking her example and nurturing ourselves, because we haven't done it. We don't know how to do it. And that's why you don't know how to do it, because we've never allowed ourselves to do it. So it feels weird. It feels like we're doing something wrong.
Yep.
But we're not.
Yep.
We're not.
Yeah. And I mean, in a few more weeks here, I'll be out gardening more. And like I said before, like when I'm gardening, I feel really close to my mom. I have her garden sign, her Nona's garden sign out here. And I do. It's about the closest I get to meditating. Like sometimes I'll listen to podcasts, but a lot of times I'll just like put my phone away and just dig in the dirt and do my thing. And I'm always surprised at, like, I might feel tired from the work, but it really helps my brain just recalibrate. And just the idea of like growing food and eating food that you've grown, like there's just something really meditative about that process. And like I said, we've turned our front yard into, long story short, we live on a fairly busy street. And when my son was younger, a lot of times kids on the spectrum, they have this thing about like everybody can see their thinking. So like he'd do stuff like he'd kind of like step on the curb and then come back, and the cars would freak out because they think he was like going to run out there. And I'd be like, dude, you cannot do that. But Mom, they know I'm not going to go out there. I'm like, yeah, not so much. So we ended up having to put a fence up just for safety. And what's been really wonderful is over the years, it's morphed into this basically front garden, and we put in like raised beds and all sorts of stuff. And it's just such a lovely oasis. And we've kind of become known in our neighborhood because I have white lights that are out all year, and then flowers and everything. So people like to come by, and we've made like a butterfly garden, hummingbird garden, by planting plants that attract those pollinators. And that's been really lovely. And it's been kind of something that we've been able to contribute to the neighborhood as well. So it's really an oasis. So, I mean, Jesus, no wonder I miss it in the winter. I'm starting to understand, like, well, yeah, like, what do they call it? The Persephone period, when you're just,
Uh-huh. And I think that makes your mama smile so big.
Oh, totally.
Like,
totally.
I'm trying to envision sweet garden in my mind's eye. And I just think I'm sure she's just smiling down on that so big.
And it's funny because she used to talk to me about, and I think I've talked about this before, like, my mom was a very spiritual person. Like everybody knew this, but she could get down and roll in the dirt too. And I remember she used to tell me that her therapy was weeding. I think I've talked about this. And every time she would weed, she would just think about something that really frustrated her and like yank the weed out. And blackberries here in Oregon are insidious. It's just Like, you can't even kill it with, like, the worst pesticide ever. So you have to just, like, dig them out every year. And she always told me that she would save blackberry weeding for, like, literally her thorniest problems. But I do, and it's not even like me sitting there, like, having memories of her. It's just a very kind of natural, chill, like, I don't know. I just feel her presence. It's really cool.
I feel like that is a spiritual experience for
Totally.
her and for you. So
Yeah.
for her, I mean, and I love that. I'm saving the blackberries for my thorniest experiences. I mean, that is like,
Right?
that's pretty deep. I love
Renee
that.
was
And
deep. Renee had some deep.
she was deep. She was deep. So listeners, we've been here, there, and everywhere tonight. We've been all over the place, which
And
is kind of
dentists.
what we like to do. Dentists, dolphins, and the matriarchy.
There you go.
But we want to end this podcast kind of just bringing it home. What are a couple things that you want our listeners to walk away from this episode with?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just kind of talked about it. Like, you don't have to garden, right? But I do think there's something about getting in touch with the earth, whether that's going to a park in the city or hiking, or even just like sitting outside with a cup of coffee on a sunny day. There's something to be said for regulating your nervous system that way, because I think that your body just kind of resets to Mother Nature's circadian rhythms if you do that on a regular basis. And I know I'm getting super woo-woo, but I do think that we forget that there is a normal primal order to things that our digital world has just left in the dust. And so the more we can just do something to kind of plug into that, I think it's just so good for us.
Agreed. Yes, that's not woo-woo. I think that's so important because we get so wrapped up in how things are now, we forget.
Yep.
You know, when people talk about taking like a break from their phones or whatever,
Yep.
it's like, it's crazy that has to be a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just want women listening to remember that we are literally one with nature. We're not separate from her. She's one of the girls on Drinks with the Girls. We are like her when we remember that we have seasons also. We have cycles also, right? And we are more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, actually than the world gives us credit for. And I think if we can remember that we are more like Mother Earth than not like her, like when I think about that, I get empowered, and it allows me the space to remember that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to keep 28 balls in the air. And I'm allowed to focus on myself and restoring what I need. That might mean saying no to people I love, and that's okay.
Yeah. And I think the other thing I would like listeners to take away as well is, like, don't use Earth Day as another opportunity to beat the crap out of yourself. Like, oh, I'm not recycling enough. I'm like, leaving the planet, and like, try not to doom scroll that idea, right? Because, I remember, shout out to my cousin Karen. Love you. Lots of Karens I love in my life. But at any rate, I remember I was really depressed and I ended up in her kitchen. I used to go down there and we'd eat like cheese and crackers and sit on our kitchen floor. And I was just like, I'm just not doing anything to like contribute, make the world a better place. She's like, you recycle, don't you? I'm like, yeah, what's your point? She's like, so there you go. Check it off. Like, let's use Earth Day as a time to just like deepen that connection, not beat ourselves up for yet one more thing we're not doing well. Like, that's my hope for Earth Day.
I love that. I love that. And I have to say too that when you just said that, my thought was, I'm raising two good human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you can say the same. And yes, am I recycling every single piece of aluminum that crosses my path? I try to, but am I getting overwhelmed in the dentist's office because of all the plastic? Yes. So clearly I care.
Clonazepam all around in the chair.
But I think we can only do what we can do. And yes, not beating ourselves up about what we're not doing is so important. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah.
So listeners, think of Earth Day not as necessarily a time when you need to be doing more, but rather just honoring who you are as a woman and what you are doing and all the things that you bring to this life. And we are so happy that you're here. We're happy that you choose to, spend an hour with us every week. And we'd love it if you would hop in our DMs on Instagram, or if you just go to our website and let us know what's up with you. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. Let us know if you're down for the 2027 Earth Day inspired surf trip in Southern California. We would love to hear from you because we do this with you and for you.
Yeah. Hit us up on drinkswiththegirlspodcast.com. That's where you can find everything. You can subscribe to the Pod Squad, get our show notes, all that stuff. We've got so many super cool, delicious things that we're going to be announcing in the next few months. And that's going to be a really great way to kind of key in on that. So I suppose it's appropriate that I'm drinking water for an Earth Day episode, but happy Earth Day to everybody. Cheers, and be good to yourself.
Cheers.